President Bongbong Marcos tatahi-tahimik kaya natatawag na weak leader eh. Well, yun ang akala ng mga DDS. Akala nila ang pananahimik ni President Bongbong Marcos ay sign of weakness. Dahil nga ba, di ba yan ang pinakalat ni former President Rodrigo Duterte? Panahon pa lang ng kampanya noong 2022, sinisiraan niya na si Bongbong Marcos din. To think na ang katandem ni Bongbong Marcos ay si Sara Duterte na anak niya. Pero doon pa lang duda na ako eh. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, may masamang balak itong si Rodrigo Duterte at hindi nga ako nagkamali. So through the years, hindi nila pinakawalan yung naratibo that Bongbong Marcos is weak. Pero tingnan nyo naman ngayon, ano ang nangyayari? Yung akala nilang tatahi-tahimik mahina. Siya pala magpapabagsak sa kanila. Dahil sila puro ingay eh. Tahimik man si President Bongbong Marcos, pero may strategy yan. Sabi ko nga noon never underestimate President Bongbong Marcos. Yan ang ginawa ng grupo ng mga DDS nila Duterte. Hindi nila alam, yung pilit nilang binabagsak ay siyang magpapabagsak sa kanila. Meron po akong gustong i-share sa inyo na article na nabasa ko sa Nutriban Republic. Ito po ay sinare ko rin sa kabilang channel ko, yung Usapang Tito Manny, pero gusto kong i-share din sa inyo para mas marami ang makaalam, lalo na tayo mga loyalista, na yung iba sa atin na panghihinaan ng loob dahil akala nila tatahi-tahimik si President Bongbong Marcos, pinababayaan lang yung kanyang mga kalaban na ibagsak siya, siraan siya, balahurain siya, lahat-lahat na. Pero hindi nila alam, magbubumerang pala sa kanila lahat ng ginagawa nila kay President Bongbong Marcos. Masyado nilang in-underestimate si Bongbong Marcos. So basahin ko po itong article na galing sa Nutriban Republic, published May 7, 2026. Pakinggan niyo pong mabuti. Lalo na yung mga DDS, para magkaroon naman kayo ng idea kung paano kayo ibinagsak ni President Bongbong Marcos. And I read. Akala yata ng mga DDS at ng mga kakampi nila, madaling basahin sina BBM at Martin Romualdez. That may be their biggest miscalculation. They assumed silence meant weakness. They assumed restraint meant fear. They assumed that because BBM does not usually perform anger in public the way Duterte does, he must be politically soft. They assumed that because Martin is often reduced by their propaganda into a caricature, he must be easy to isolate, easy to destroy, easy to humiliate. That is a dangerous reading of power. Politics does not require admiration to demand accuracy. Whatever one thinks of the Marcoses or the Romualdezes, one basic fact remains. These clans did not survive Philippine politics by being stupid. They survived exile, disgrace, court battles, public condemnation, historical reckoning, and still found their way back to Malacanang. That kind of return does not happen by accident. It requires machinery, patience, money, alliances, memory, timing, and a cold understanding of how power moves when the cameras are not looking. The Duterte camp seems to have mistaken noise for dominance. They treated politics like a permanent rally. Shout louder, threaten harder, flood the internet, provoke fear, make everyone tremble. That worked for a time because many people did tremble. Institutions bent, allies obeyed, critics were attacked. The online mob became a weapon. But a weapon is not the same as strategy. And this is where BBM may have played the game differently, almost Sun Tzu-like, not because he is some grand military genius, but because the pattern is obvious. When your enemy is stronger, do not meet him where he is strongest. When your enemy is temperamental, let him reveal himself. When your enemy is arrogant, allow him to overextend. When his forces look united, find the cracks. When he expects a fistfight, give him a chessboard. The DDS expected BBM to fight like Duterte. He did not. They expected panic. He waited. They expected a dramatic confrontation. He gave them slow pressure. They expected to dominate the narrative through rage. Instead, their own rage became evidence of their panic. That is the part many DDS propagandists still do not understand. Screaming is not always strength. Sometimes it is just the sound of a camp realizing that the old magic is no longer working. Look at the battlefield now. Rodrigo Duterte, the man they sold as untouchable, is in the custody of the International Criminal Court in The Hague. The strongman who once made people fear the state is now facing the machinery of international justice. Sara Duterte, once packaged as inevitable, is under the shadow of a major impeachment battle. Yes, the legal process has its own twists, defenses, and constitutional questions. But politically, the aura of inevitability has been damaged. Hindi na siya basta-basta sure win. Hindi na siya untouched. Hindi na siya outside the reach of institutional pressure. Bato de la Rosa, once the loud face of the drug war, has been publicly described as staying out of sight amid reports of ICC-related legal danger, while his own side insists he is not hiding. Fine, let them argue over the word, but politically, the image is already damaging. The general who once projected fear now looks like a man watching the door. Apollo Kibuloy, one of Duterte's most powerful religious allies, is detained and facing serious legal cases. The so-called appointed Son of God, once shielded by influence, spectacle, and political proximity, is now in the custody of the state. Jay Sonsa, one of the loud pro-Duterte media figures, has faced arrest and legal proceedings. Franco Mabanta, founder of Peanut Gallery Media Network, has been arrested over an alleged extortion attempt involving Martin Romualdez. Other mouthpieces are suddenly discovering that propaganda has a legal aftertaste. So yes, the Duterte camp still shouts, they still accuse, they still threaten, they still manufacture bravado. But the map around them is changing. The Marcos Romualdez camp is destroying them, not necessarily through one dramatic knockout punch, but through small compression. Legal pressure here, institutional pressure there, reputational damage everywhere. Their network is no longer just noisy. It is exposed. Their aura is no longer invincible. It is cracking. Their movement is no longer purely offensive. It is now defensive, cornered, and forced to explain itself. Ang dating solid, ngayon kanya-kanyang hugas kamay. The old Duterte formula was simple: intimidate, dominate, overwhelm. But that formula depends on fear. Once the other side stops acting afraid, the whole performance begins to look smaller. The growl becomes noise. The threat becomes content. The strongman theater becomes a group chat with microphones. And this is why underestimating BBM and Martin was politically foolish. The Marcos Romualdez camp has many sins, many controversies, and many reasons to be criticized. But stupidity is not one of their defining weaknesses. These are not amateurs who accidentally wandered into power. These are political survivors from families that know how to lose, disappear, wait, rebuild, rebrand, consolidate, and return. It took a revolution to remove the Marcoses from Malacanang. That sentence alone should have warned the DDS. It took a revolution, exile, decades of stigma, and generations of public anger, and yet the family still returned to the presidency. That does not make them morally admirable. It makes them politically dangerous. It means they understand endurance. It means they know the value of patience. It means they are not easily destroyed by the same tired playbook of online tantrums and macho posturing. And now, the irony is brutal. The Duterte camp, once so comfortable playing executioner in the public square, is now the one being squeezed. Not always loudly, not always dramatically, but steadily. The pressure is no longer just rhetorical. It is institutional, legal, reputational, and factional. Their narratives are messier. Their allies are more defensive. Their propaganda is more desperate. Their anger is less frightening because it is beginning to sound less like command and more like panic. Hindi porket maingay ka, ikaw ang nananalo. Minsan, ikaw lang ang huling nakakaalam na nauubos ka na pala. That is the political lesson here. The DDS built a movement addicted to rage, but rage is a poor substitute for discipline. They mastered intimidation, but intimidation fails against opponents who know how to absorb pressure, wait for overreach, and strike when the enemy has already made itself vulnerable. The point is not virtue. The point is power. And power at this level is rarely loud all the time. Sometimes power smiles. Sometimes power waits. Sometimes power lets the enemy believe he is winning. Then, one day, the loudest people in the room realize they were not leading the war. They were being led into it. And that is what I called strategy. Tatahi-tahimik man si President Bongbong Marcos, pinabayaan niya lang kayong i-underestimate siya. Pinabayaan niya lang kayong mag-ingay. Kasi nga naman, alam niya na hindi porket maingay ka, ikaw ang nananalo. Minsan, ikaw lang ang huling nakakaalam na nauubos ka na pala. O hindi ba? Ang mga DDS, ang mga Duterte, ang huling nakakaalam na nauubos na pala sila. Very good read from Nutriban Republic. Maraming salamat po for letting me share your article. Share po natin ito sa ating mga loyalista. Huwag po tayong mawalan ng loob. Yung iba kasi akala nila hindi kasi lumalaban si President Bongbong Marcos, pinababayaan na ganun-ganunin na lang siya ng mga Duterte. Hindi nila alam, pumiplacing lang pala si President Bongbong Marcos. So ayan na, hudyat na to, mga DDS, mga Duterte. Mag-iba na kayo ng strategy dahil hindi po gumana yan kay President Bongbong Marcos. Kaya kahit na anong pilit yung ibagsak siya, look at you now. Nasa na kayo? Hanggang dito na lang po muna tayo hanggang sa susunod na mga issues. Maraming salamat po.